Imagine a young peasant girl, barely a teenager, leading an army to victory. This was no ordinary girl. This was Joan of Arc. Driven by divine visions, she rose from obscurity to become one of the most remarkable figures in history. Joan's story is one of unwavering faith, astonishing courage, and ultimately tragic martyrdom. It is a story that continues to inspire and captivate centuries later. Joan's journey began in the small village of Domremy, France. Born into a peasant family, she seemed destined for a life of rural simplicity, but fate, it seemed, had other plans. At the tender age of 13, Joan began experiencing visions and hearing voices. These were no ordinary hallucinations. They were, she claimed, messages from God delivered through the saints, urging her to save France from English domination. Joan of Arc's name resonates through history. Known as the Maid of Orléans, she became a symbol of French national identity and resistance. Her unwavering faith, remarkable courage, and tragic fate have captivated generations. But who was this young woman who dared to challenge the established order and lead an army in the name of God? Joan's story unfolds against the backdrop of the Hundred Years' War, a brutal conflict that had ravaged France for decades. The English, with their superior military might, had gained the upper hand. Orléans, a strategic city on the Loire River, was under siege. Its fall would have been a devastating blow to French morale and could have paved the way for an English conquest of the entire country. It was in this desperate hour that Joan of Arc emerged, a beacon of hope for a demoralized nation. Born in Domremy, a small village in northeastern France, Joan's early life was humble. She received no formal education and spent her days tending sheep and helping with household chores. Yet beneath this ordinary exterior lay an extraordinary spirit. Deeply devout, Joan attended church regularly and possessed a strong sense of faith and piety. Around the age of 13, Joan's life took a dramatic turn. She began experiencing visions and hearing voices which she attributed to St. Michael, St. Catherine, and St. Margaret. These divine figures, she claimed, entrusted her with a crucial mission to drive the English out of France and crown the rightful king, Charles VII. Initially hesitant and frightened, Joan eventually embraced her calling, convinced that she was acting on God's behalf. Fueled by her unwavering faith and the urgency of her mission, Joan embarked on a perilous journey to Chinon, where the uncrowned Charles VII resided. Dressed in men's clothing and accompanied by a small escort, she traversed enemy territory, her determination unshaken by the dangers that lay ahead. It was a testament to her courage and the depth of her conviction. Upon reaching Chinon, Joan faced skepticism and resistance from Charles' advisors. Undeterred, she requested an audience with the Dauphin, claiming that she could prove her divine mandate. According to legend, Joan correctly identified Charles, who had disguised himself among his courtiers, further solidifying her claim as a messenger of God. Impressed by her piety and determination, Charles eventually agreed to provide Joan with an army, albeit a small and poorly equipped one. The Siege of Orléans, a pivotal moment in the Hundred Years' War, became the stage for Joan of Arc's military debut. Leading a demoralized French army, she rallied the troops with her unwavering faith and infectious enthusiasm. Joan's presence had an electrifying effect, transforming the tide of the siege and inspiring the French to fight with renewed vigor. Joan's military strategies, though unorthodox, proved surprisingly effective. She urged her troops to attack on multiple fronts, keeping the English off balance. Her charisma and piety also played a role in boosting morale among the French soldiers, who viewed her as a divinely appointed leader. Within a matter of days, the Siege of Orléans was lifted, marking a turning point in the war and solidifying Joan's reputation as a military strategist and a symbol of French resistance. With the Siege of Orléans broken, Joan of Arc had achieved the first part of her divine mission. The next step was to escort Charles VII to Reims for his coronation. Reims, the traditional site of French coronations, held immense symbolic significance. By crowning Charles in this sacred city, Joan aimed to legitimize his claim to the throne and unite the French people under his banner. The journey to Reims was fraught with danger. English forces still controlled much of northern France, and their commanders were determined to prevent Charles's coronation. Undeterred, Joan led the French army on a series of daring marches, outmaneuvering and defeating the English at every turn. Finally, on July 17, 1429, Charles VII was crowned King of France in Reims Cathedral, fulfilling Joan's prophecy and cementing her place in French history. Despite her victories, Joan of Arc's triumph was short-lived. Political intrigue and jealousy among Charles VII's advisors led to her downfall. Some courtiers, resentful of her influence over the king, began plotting against her. On May 23, 1430, while leading an assault on the Burgundian-held town of Compiègne, Joan was captured and taken prisoner. Her capture marked a turning point in the war and shattered the morale of the French army. The circumstances surrounding Joan's capture remain shrouded in controversy. Some historians believe that she was deliberately betrayed by French forces who resented her growing power and influence. Others argue that her capture was simply a consequence of battlefield misfortune. Regardless of the reasons, Joan's imprisonment dealt a severe blow to the French war effort and paved the way for her tragic end. Joan of Arc's capture presented her enemies with a dilemma. Her popularity among the common people made it politically risky to simply execute her. Instead, they opted for a more insidious approach, to discredit her by putting her on trial for heresy. The trial, orchestrated by English authorities and their French collaborators, was a political sham from the outset. Joan, a young uneducated peasant girl, was pitted against a panel of learned theologians and legal experts. She was subjected to relentless questioning about her visions and her claim of divine guidance. Her answers, often simple and straightforward, were twisted and manipulated by her accusers to portray her as a heretic and a threat to the Church. Despite enduring weeks of interrogation and intimidation, Joan remained steadfast in her faith and her belief in her divine mission. On May 30th, 1431, Joan of Arc was found guilty of heresy and sentenced to death. She was just 19 years old. Led to the marketplace in Rouen, she was tied to a stake and burned alive. Her executioners later claimed that her heart remained intact even after the flames had consumed her body, a testament, they believed, to her innocence and divine favor. Joan's death sent shockwaves throughout France and beyond. Her supporters viewed her as a martyr, a victim of political machinations and religious intolerance. Her execution, far from extinguishing her legend, only served to amplify it. The Maid of Orléans, forever young and forever defiant, became a potent symbol of French national identity, her memory invoked by generations seeking inspiration and liberation. In the years following her execution, Joan of Arc's reputation underwent a remarkable transformation. The very church that had condemned her as a heretic began to reconsider her case. In 1456, Pope Calixtus III ordered a new trial which overturned her conviction and declared her innocent of all charges. Joan's name was cleared and she was hailed as a heroine and a martyr. The process of Joan's canonization, a lengthy and complex procedure, began in the 19th century. Finally, in 1920, she was officially declared a saint by the Roman Catholic Church. Saint Joan of Arc, once a condemned heretic, became one of France's most beloved and revered figures. Her feast day, May 30th, is celebrated annually throughout the country, commemorating her life, her sacrifice, and her enduring legacy. Joan of Arc's story continues to resonate centuries after her death. She remains a potent symbol of French national identity, her image invoked by politicians, artists, and activists alike. Her unwavering faith, her courage in the face of adversity, and her unwavering commitment to her beliefs continue to inspire people around the world. Beyond her status as a national heroine, Joan of Arc's legacy transcends borders and historical periods. She's become an icon for those who challenge authority, fight for justice, and refuse to be silenced. Her story reminds us that even the most ordinary individuals can achieve extraordinary things when driven by conviction and guided by principle. Joan of Arc's legacy is a testament to the enduring power of faith, courage, and the human spirit's unyielding quest for freedom and justice. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of History Uncovered. We are truly grateful for your support and enthusiasm as we explore the fascinating events and people that have shaped our world. We love bringing these stories to life, and your engagement makes it all worthwhile. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. Your subscription helps us continue our journey through time and allows us to share even more intriguing stories and insights with you. We also encourage you to leave a comment below with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future episodes. We're always excited to hear from our viewers and appreciate your input. Thank you once again for being part of our community. We can't wait to have you join us for our next historical adventure. Until then, keep exploring and uncovering the past with us here on History Uncovered.